Welcome to episode 111 of the Clive Barker Podcast. This is a news episode, and we want to thank our sponsor really quick, Don Bertram, and his Celebrate Imagination project for sponsoring our podcast.
Celebrate imagination!
Thanks, Joey. In this episode, we catch up on what's going on with the site. We talk about Clive Barker art, Clive Barker stories, and what's coming up next. All right. Well, welcome. How's it going? Sorry, it's 6 o'clock in the morning for me.
8 o'clock here.
It's 10 here.
Yeah.
3 time zones. 3 very sleepy guys, but
yeah.
We're up for another news episode, and let's get it on.
Yeah, so I guess to begin with, we want to talk about our other sponsor, Don Bertram's Celebrate Imagination, which is benefiting the Texas Children's Hospital. So he's got an Etsy store where you can buy his artwork, and the artwork that he does, what it says on his website is that up to 50% goes towards the Children's Hospital, but if you look at each individual piece of art, it seems like it's more like 50% is the minimum, and it's usually more. So that's really cool. Texas Children's Cancer Center. So that's 50% or more of the proceeds go to that when you buy his artwork, and he's got 2 books also, children's books.
The artwork's really good too. I looked over it. I liked it. It
is really good. And he's inspired by Clive Barker's art, and that's how he came to us.
That's wonderful.
He volunteers every month at the Texas Children's Cancer Center, and he in this arts and medicine program with the kids there, and the money that you spend on his art also goes towards that.
Well, it's a good. What he's doing is very. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah,
definitely. We're glad to be supporting it.
Yeah.
Please join us in donating to the Arts and Medicine program at the Texas Children Cancer Center, and thank you, Don Bertram, for sponsoring our show.
Yep, and we'll have a link in the show notes, but also we've got an ad on the website that you can click on as well. All right, so I guess before we get into the news, we can talk about what we've been up to and what's going on with the website. So, audio commentaries, we've been kind of really plugging along at those because we've got a long list of them to do from our Kickstarter, and we got through Transmutations, Rawhead Rex, Dread, Candyman 3, and Hellraiser Inferno was the last one we just finished.
Yes. That was fun.
Next up is Hellraiser Hellseeker.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, boy.
Yeah, that has Ashley Lawrence. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I'll save that for the commentary. But
okay.
Yeah, I think it's slightly better than Hellraiser Inferno.
I do too.
I think so too.
Yeah, so that's our next one, and I finished a video review of Nightbreed: The Interactive Movie, also one of our stretch goals, and I'm in the middle of making Nightbreed: The Action Game. So there were two Nightbreed games made by Ocean Software in the year 1990. And the action game actually came first, but I didn't know that. I thought it was the other way around. But according to Phil and Sarah, the action game came first.
That's
then
the one that looks like
movie.
a right?
Looks like a what?
Like a platformer, like it's going like in a cemetery. That's when it starts.
And you have to punch all these police that have machine guns and flamethrowers and stuff.
Yeah.
Did you ever play this before, like back in the day?
No. I played the interactive movie game, but this one was in. This one, I think, at least the Amiga version didn't make it to the United States. I think it only made it into Europe.
I think I have this one in audio tapes because I used to have this computer called the ZX Spectrum. It was created by Sinclair Software, and I do have a copy of the game, the action game, in audio tape. So you would have to plug in a little tape deck to your computer, and then you'd connect your computer to your TV, and then you'd start the tape deck, and it would play this series of screeching noises, and it would load the game.
After probably 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah, if you were lucky. Sometimes some games that had different levels, you would actually have to stop the game once it loaded the first level, then you have to start the tape again to load level 2 and stuff like that. So it was the 80s. So I didn't have consoles with the what do you call them with the cartridge games. So I used the audio tapes for that.
Well, luckily mine is on floppy disks, and I never thought I would say luckily because it's still really slow. And I have a European store-bought version, and I also have cracked discs that give me cheats, which I need because that game is really hard.
Yeah.
And those games really sound hard.
You can do it.
Really,
A lot of those old games, I think, were based a lot on repetition and memory. Like you knew you had to fire here, jump there, and then you just have to memorize almost the entire level to know exactly what you had to do.
Well, and I read through the owner's manual on it, and it was like, don't get in fights if you can't help it. It's like, well, thanks a lot. I mean, isn't that what that's what the video games are for? Is for fighting.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of those old NES. I'll watch games like Contra. Like people do these like 10-minute, run throughs.
Oh, and they really speed runs.
They don't even play the game really. They just skip. They just don't.
Yeah.
What you were saying, they don't involve themselves in the action. They just
Or sometimes they just use exploit like glitches in the game that will like send you from one level to the next. Like if you run against this wall, you can go through it, and that's what they use to. I've seen someone do a Half-Life game speed run. He did it in like 45 minutes. That game is huge.
Yeah, that's really fast for that game.
I never finished Half-Life. That's why I never played Half-Life 2.
Oh yeah, you kind of get lost in the hallways and the vents and all that stuff.
Yeah, that was what happened to me. I mean, I thought it was a cool game. I wanted to finish it, but I got stuck somehow.
Well, I did finish Clive Barker's Jericho when I played it. I haven't finished Undying yet, but I did finish Clive Barker's Jericho when it came out, and I'm doing a playthrough video of it. So it's going to be like a weekly thing, and I'm going to put the first episode up today.
Oh, that'll be awesome.
Yeah, don't laugh too much at the fact that sometimes I shoot my own team of Jericho characters, but it's just that the AI in Jericho is a little, it could be better. You have
AIs are always a little wacky.
Yeah, you have like 5 different players, and they're all running around in front of each other while constantly shooting guns, and sometimes it's just hard not to shoot them.
Do they take damage, don't they, when you shoot them? It's been a long time since I played that.
Yeah, and they talk back to me, too.
Oh, so they get mad when you shoot them?
Yes, they do. They say something like, this isn't boot camp, soldier. Anyway, so watch out for that on the Barkercast YouTube channel.
So you're saying, well, if it's not boot camp, why do you keep running in front of my gun all the time?
That's true.
I don't know, yeah.
I
did a review of Voices of the Damned by Barbie Wild. We did a podcast with her back in was it October?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it was, and I always wanted to do a review of that book for her, and finally got around to doing that. It's a really good book. And also, don't forget to, I don't know, can you still vote?
I'm not sure. I think so.
Book
I think that's over now.
Oh, is it?
I'm not
Did
sure.
y'all get y'all's votes in?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
I did too.
Yeah, was that that was some horror website?
Yeah, it's a horror website. She got a nomination for best short story collection.
Yeah, and when I went through that site, it was like, why didn't they have? I think they were just talking about indie books because they didn't. There was no Scarlet Gospels anywhere on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't see Scarlet Gospels on there either.
It was This Is Horror Awards 2015, and she was nominated for the best short story collection.
Yeah.
Then I did a review of Tonight Again. Very, probably one of the best Clive Barker books I've read in a while. I thought it was better than Scarlet Gospels. So if anybody still has not got that, get that. And we're going to be doing a episode on that here pretty soon, right?
Yeah, that should be our next one.
Yeah. So we'll talk a
bit
more about that, in that. But we'll go ahead and share that.
No, I was going to say I read your review. I really liked it. And
oh, yeah.
I felt the same way about a lot of the stories. We're going to be putting up more reviews this week.
So I didn't read it because I wasn't finished with the book at the time, but I should go back and read it now. I get paranoid about spoilers and stuff, but
it wasn't really spoiler. It wasn't really spoiler heavy, but
okay.
I can understand. I'm the same way.
Yeah,
but it just really more or less touches on like the themes of the stories and how Clive kind of wants you to be to kind of find your own voice and sexuality and stuff like that, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I'll go take a look at it.
Then I did I forgot about this. I did a 5 favorite Cenobites.
Yeah. Well, we haven't done news since we haven't done a news episode since December 5th. So
really?
that's so it's been it's pretty old.
I think my 5 favorite ones were the Chatter, Angelique, Twins. Most of them were from Hellraiser Bloodline. The Chatter, Beast.
Oh yeah.
I liked my last one was JP.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, J.P. Monroe is awesome in Hellraiser 3. He's really cool. He's a little weird, but it's an interesting design with that piston thing going through his head.
Yeah. Go check that out if you like to look at favorite lists. I like to try to do more of those.
Those seem to be really popular. Yeah.
I like to do a favorite list of Clive Barker's, my favorite characters from his books, but I've not read a lot of all his books yet, so I'm afraid to do one right now because, there could be characters in the Aberrat series that I like a lot, and I've not read that yet.
Oh yeah,
I started it, but there could be just some people that I like more than the ones I have on my list. I've got a list written down, but you never know.
Probably in a year or two, I'm going to start reading them to Joey.
Oh, cool.
He's just now. We've started reading him. Barely started reading him chapter books, but he's mostly. We're still doing kids, little kids books. But
oh yeah,
we got through.
All right, Joey. I'm going to read to you the Midnight Meat Train. Choo choo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, great.
Yeah, on Everville, so getting into Clive Barker news, Everville is on Audible now. Also narrated by Chet Williams, who did The Great and Secret Show.
Right. Chet Williamson, actually he has a website. It's chetwilliamson.com. Duh. And he has actually written horror himself and science fiction and suspense. He has been shortlisted twice for the World Fantasy Award. He has won the International Horror Guild Award. And, so he's been nominated 6 times for the HWA Stoker Awards.
He's not just a voice actor, then.
He's not just a voice actor, so go check out www.chetwilliamson.com.
Huh. Well, that's interesting.
Cool. Yeah. He also did some. He's also voiced a lot of the Barker titles for Audible. Like, he must be like the go-to guy for Clive Barker stuff.
Sure.
Maybe Clive likes the way he reads his material.
Yeah, and I think the reason that I never got into Clive's audiobooks is because I bought the book on tape for The Hellbound Heart, and I thought that every one of his would be read by Clive Barker, like The Hellbound Heart was, but...
So what, you got kind of spoiled by listening to Clive?
Yeah. Well, and I went and I saw him reading... I went and went to an event where he was reading the first chapter of The Thief of Always.
Yeah.
And after that, I always wanted to hear him read his own books, but it just, they were all read by other people. I was like, oh, that's not the same.
In the old website, thebooksofAbarat.com, that doesn't exist anymore, I remember there was a MP3 of Clive Barker reading the first chapter of Days of Magic, Nights of War. And he was really, really, his voice was very, very hoarse at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he starts with that scene where Otto Houlihan is waiting to talk to Christopher Carrion. And that's what opens the second Abarat book, I think. So it was just that one prologue called Hunger. And I wish I wish I had more books of Clive Barker reading his own stuff, really. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of a shame that they took that website down. I mean, those books aren't done yet, not by a long shot. We still have...
I'd like to have seen that.
We still have 2 more to go.
That's right. Should be coming up soon.
Yeah. So Zimble magazine has Clive Barker art in it, and there was a Kickstarter that had 93 backers and $4,152 it made, by the time that it ended. But there's a preview of it that you could go to online and take a look at it.
Yeah, it's issue number 6.
Yeah, I think the last issue they'd worked with Clive Barker too. I remember them doing where he was going on. Remember, he was going on a art tour with some other artist at the time who was doing a lot of artwork for the Freaks. It was Freaks and Geeks or something like that. Do y'all recall?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and Zimble kind of worked with that artist and Clive Barker in their last issue, I believe.
Right, and there was, I think I remember when the Kickstarter came out, it was Zimble Presents. There was another artist. I think it was Gail Pataki.
Yeah, that's who it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's cool. So check out Zimble. If you were a Kickstarter backer, then I think you should probably get it. If not, you can look up the article on our blog and follow the link and see the preview of issue number 6 that features Clive Barker's artwork.
So this one is sort of a kick in the stomach for me, but you can get a paperback of Richard Chismar's Turn Down the Lights, which has Clive Barker's Dolly in it. So I bought the artist edition of this book 2 or 3 years ago, and I still haven't gotten it because they had a problem with the autographs, and they got lost in the mail and they had to start all over again.
That's horrible.
That's really bad.
In the time between when I pre-ordered this book and now, Clive Barker actually put together a whole other book that has the story Dolly in it and published it, and we pre-ordered it and bought it.
Huh.
So
can you not cancel? Or
I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I think that I might want to do that. I mean, the one that I have would have theoretically have autographs from every author in it.
Yeah, that's true.
And I don't know. I don't even know if I've been charged the money already, or they're waiting until it ships.
I'm looking at the list of horror writers in this book, and it has Stephen King, Norman Partridge, Jack Ketchum, Brian James Freeman, Bentley Little, Ed Gorman, Ronald Kelly, Steve Rasnick-Tem, which I'm going to go back to in a bit to mention something, Clive Barker, and Peter Straub. So Steve Rasnick-Tem, I think if I'm not mistaken, there used to be a website called Kaleidospace, and back in the 90s, in the early 90s. And there was this one-time project with Clive Barker that they did. It was called A Story with No Title, A Street with No Name. I don't know if you remember that, but it was It was in Kaleidospace. Clive Barker was one of the artists in residence at the website. So they did something where Clive Barker wrote the beginning of a story, and then they asked the people on the internet to come up with the continuing chapters of it to make a collaborative story. And if I'm not mistaken, and this website doesn't exist anymore, but I think I have it on archive in my hard drive. I think I remember Steve Resnick-Tem at the time, like in 93 or something. He was one of the guys who wrote one of the chapters to continue the story. And I just remember this, and it's like, wow, how did that come into my brain? But this happened 23 years ago. So Steve Resnick-Tem was one of the guys who wrote a continuation for this chapter. I'm going to see if I can check out my archive and see if I can confirm this. But that's interesting. I didn't know this guy actually became a writer in his own right. That's pretty cool. And now he's in a book with Clive Barker. Huh. Who would have imagined that?
Well, I hope you eventually get the book, Ryan. I mean, I hope it comes.
Yeah, I think
probably just show up one day.
I think I'm going to cancel.
Is Dolly the same story that was also released as The Departed?
Yeah, that no, it's Dolly is in Tonight Again.
Oh, that's right. I just read it. Yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah, got it.
So that's what I mean. Like in the time that I ordered it, that Tonight Again was put together. Was assembled and
that's probably why maybe you put Dolly in there.
Yeah,
you probably got frustrated with that.
Well, I mean, there was a normal like hardcover that everybody got. So it's I was waiting for that. I was the only one of us that got it, and I was waiting to get it so that I could review it for the site. And then it's like, well, everybody's had it for like 3 years now.
So it wouldn't be like a new...
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, so now there's a paperback, which is kind of like, oh, that's great.
Yeah. So what happened in the original thing was that they were like getting the signatures of all the artists featured in the book, and they were sending the pages to be printed, and they lost them in the mail.
Yeah, all of them, I guess. So they had to start over from the beginning.
Damn it.
That's weird how they would lose that.
Yeah.
And the mailing system can be screwed up.
Yeah, and every year they say, okay, we'll have it by the end of the year. But I've seen that twice now on their website, that their update says, it'll be done by the end of the year. In two different years.
I don't know. I mean, that's strange that's taken that long to just get some autographs out. But
yeah, I mean, they could have flown to each one of those authors' houses and just sat there and said, we'll just wait until you sign these.
That's a way to go about it.
Yeah.
So Gauntlet Press, the Great and Secret Show special edition will have a lot of bonus material. So if in case you're a big fan of the book, or you haven't read it, or you read it and you want to make a good investment on a book, then this is going to have stuff like handwritten pages from Clive's first draft of the novel, notes along with Bradbury-like doodles Clive made, and typed pages with handwritten corrections from the typed first draft of the book. So there'll be a lettered edition, and there'll be a lot of intros and afterwards, and they expect it to be a summer release.
Yeah, there's only 10 copies left too. I get the Dark Regions or their letter.
Gauntlet Press.
And there's only 10 copies left, I think.
Wow.
So it's still pretty good.
Yeah, these things get so limited. It's like you have to jump on them right away a lot of the time.
I know, right? I mean, Tonight Again, the unlimited edition was limited to 1,000 copies. So it's like that's the unlimited edition. It's just I wish that these things. Well, now there are more paperbacks coming out, and paperbacks are good because they usually have a larger run. So there's going to be a paperback of the Midian Unmade coming out in late 2016, for example. So
yeah, and I didn't end up getting Midian Unmade.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got it. I picked it up.
Are you enjoying it?
Have you started reading it yet? No, not yet.
All right.
But I do have a copy. It's on my list. There's a stack of books I have, and it's maybe the second or third book I have.
I know some people on Occupy Midian have been posting their pictures of the book, and some people have been discussing
Yeah.
And Occupy Midian. So yeah, it's cool. There's going to be the paperback edition coming soon. So stay tuned for that in late 2016.
Yeah, and the Departed, which is also known as Hermione and the Moon.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, will be reprinted in Richard Chismar's Shivers, which from Cemetery Dance. Yeah, it's in the year's best science fiction and fantasy, volume 6, and there's one other, and then I have it in one other book, and I can't remember which one it is. And it's published under both names, in two different books.
Well, the more good news is that the first Clive Barker newsletter of 2016 came out, and they are saying that their prints, median pendants, and books are low on stock. So that's great that people are still buying stuff from the real Clive Barker store, and it's the best way you can support Clive Barker and Seraphin. So if you want to buy something from Clive, check there first to see if they're selling it, and you'll help Clive Barker directly. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and those books and stuff are all from his collection. So they say there's limited stock even to begin with. Whenever they put something up on the site, it's kind of. Yeah. I saw one guy called it like Clive Barker's garage sale, which is kind of like what it is. I mean, you never know what's going to be on there from day to day.
When I was there with you and Ron McKenzie and Ben Mears and other people, we were there standing in that big room at the entrance of the Seraphin offices, and I remember pointing up to the top shelf, and I found there's Portuguese paperbacks of Clive Barker up there. I see them.
Yeah, and it's
like the Damnation Game, right?
And it's not like one copy of that.
It
would be like
some Japanese
3
paperbacks.
Yeah.
You picked up some Japanese paperbacks of the Books of Blood, and you were saying, translating what the books were called.
Yeah, yeah. I love the titles in all the different languages.
How would you say Books of Blood in Japanese?
There was something there. I think the one that I was looking at was was it In the Flesh?
Mm-hmm.
And it was something, I can't remember what the title wasn't In the Flesh. It was something about a haunted something or other.
And I love the covers of those Japanese paperbacks. They have all these weird monsters.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's so.
Yeah, that's so cool. Y'all got to see some really cool stuff on that visit.
Oh yeah. That was awesome. So there's a sculpture by Clive Barker, David Richardson, and Johnny Raymond called Libertine that was in the Copro Gallery in California.
It's a mask. It's a mask. It's an exhibit that's still going until the 6th of February. So if you live out there, you can still see it on display, I believe.
So you've got about a week left.
The Copro Gallery is 2525 Michigan Avenue in Santa Monica, California. The times are 8 to 11:30 p.m., and the exhibit will run from January 16th through February 6th. So the mask is interesting. It's kind of a horned creature, and it's done in a really cool style, but it looks a little unfinished to me. It looks like someone was using their hands to work the mask, and then they just looked at it and was like, well, this is done. So the exhibit is part of a larger thing called Conjoined 666 Sculptural Group Art Exhibit. So pretty cool.
I like the I don't know, the way the mouth is, the way they shape the mouth. It's kind of creepy looking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the empty eyes and
the empty eyes definitely.
Yeah, it looks very cool. So go check that out. I think Rob, you posted this on the 6th of January on our blog. So go check that out.
And if any of y'all go, take a picture of it or something, if you can.
Yeah, we'd love to see
what
it.
It looks like.
Yeah. It'd be good to hear back from anybody going out to take a look. Arrow originally had that box set of the Hellraiser movies that you got.
Yeah.
But now there's a sort of a trimmed down version of the trilogy box set. Yeah. So it's not the fancy one, but it has the 3 movies in it.
And all the special features are included from those movies, so that's good.
So you don't get Phil and Sarah's book
and the extra bonus disc.
Oh, okay. So you probably wouldn't get the Leviathan documentary?
No, the Leviathan documentaries came as extras on the individual movies, like Hellraiser.
Oh, I see.
Hellraiser,
okay.
and then, yeah.
That's a good way to put it there. Yeah.
Huh.
So you still get tons of features.
So is there? So they split the movie up into the Hellraiser section and the Hellraiser 2 section and the Hellraiser 3 section, like how we did our reviews.
Yeah, exactly.
Huh. So is it like 2 or no? It was like 4.5 hours just for the Hellraiser one.
I think this is a new edit that they did, right? It's not the 11 hours of material.
No, it's the. Remember how they took the film and they cut it down to like a 2-hour version?
Yeah, but that was a 2-hour version that covered the whole thing, though, right? It wasn't just 2 hours. Did they take the 2-hour version and split it into 3 parts?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's what they did. Yeah.
So that would be like 40 minutes or something for each one?
An hour for the first one, and then an hour for Hellbound, and then I guess I can't remember how long it was.
Half an hour for the third one, I think.
Yeah. So about 2.5 hours total.
Well, it's enough, I guess. As an extra feature, I think that's pretty comprehensive.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and we can't say enough good things about the Leviathan documentary. So if you're a big time Hellraiser fan, you should get that anyway. Even if you have this box set,
the 11-hour version.
Yeah.
Preferably.
Yeah. God.
Yeah. So that's cool. So the Arrow put out the trilogy box because the Scarlet box was sold out, I think. So it chance to get it if you live in Europe or you have a multi-region Blu-ray player.
Yeah. The name of the Scarlet box was escaping me.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be a Nightbreed screening on April 16th in Salt Lake City Horror. This is weird. Salt City Horror Fest, which is in Syracuse, New York. So I would have thought that'd be in Salt Lake
City.
But the Salt City Horror Fest in Syracuse, New York. It's going to be playing in 35 millimeter, so it's going to be the theatrical cut because you can't get a 35 millimeter print of the director's cut.
Right. Yeah.
That was never put to film, right? It was just put to.
Yeah, it's just digital.
Yeah, digital. Yeah.
So that's cool. That's always a good chance to watch Nightbreed again.
Yeah. That would be
that we all loved and grew up loving. So I'm okay with that.
That would be really fun, and I think they should, not to tell them what to do, but I think they should get Ann Bobby to come. She lives in New York.
That'd be great.
I ought to send this report to her.
Uh-huh.
Although she's not a big fan of the theatrical cut.
But. Oh, yeah. There's some other movies that they're showing there. I guess they're actually prints. The Shining, Event Horizon, The Warriors, Martin, The Burbs, and Rosemary's Baby. It's a good little lineup of films.
Yeah. That's a pretty eclectic collection. I think that Event Horizon is probably the most disturbing out of all of those.
Yeah, I got that for Christmas, and I recently watched it again, and it holds up really nice. Yeah, it has elements of that are very Hellraiser in it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a cross between the plot of the game Doom and Hellraiser.
And that device that opens up, I guess, another portal kind of reminds me of a Lament configuration in a way, the way it lines up, and So I've always thought a lot of fans have always included Event Horizon. Some fans try to include that into the universe of Hellraiser in a way.
Yeah.
Too bad that the movie director ended up making those awful Resident Evil movies afterwards.
Oh, no.
Which ones did he do?
Did all of them, I think.
Event Horizon, the guy who did Event Horizon.
Paul Anderson.
Yeah.
No, I was saying which Resident Evil movies did he do?
He directed them all, I think.
Oh, really?
All of them. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know they were all had the same director. It seems like number one is way different from the other ones.
Yeah, he's married to Mila Jovovich, so he puts her in every single movie as well. She's a main character, but
Yeah.
kind of helps that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first one of those was a horror movie, and then after that they were just kind of this goofy action
sci-fi
series.
kind of Matrix thing going on.
Yeah, a lot of like have you seen that Deadpool trailer where he says, "Oh, she's going to do the superhero fall or the superhero landing, right?" And then where you land and put one knee down and put your fist into the ground.
Yeah.
So it's like it seems like those Resident Evil movies are just an excuse for some female character to do poses like that.
Absolutely, yeah, and then wear like stylish clothes and fire guns.
Yeah.
And do crazy things like fire like a big plate of glass, and then while the glass is falling, she kicks it and she slices a zombie dog in half, and it's just insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
The games, I'm not saying we're all that subtle, but, they had nothing to do with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. They were just survival horror.
Yeah.
At least in the beginning.
Became their own thing, I think.
Yeah.
I think that disappointed a lot of people who wanted to see the adaptation of the Resident Evil games. But really, there's not much story there to adapt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the track record for making a movie out of a video game is not very good. So, I think the first Resident Evil movie kind of, is good for a video game movie.
You don't like Super Mario Brothers, the movie?
Oh, wow. Hey, you know who loves that movie, apparently? It's Danny, our friend Danny Stewart. He loves he loves Super Mario Brothers, the movie. He keeps
had Dennis Hopper in it.
Yeah, that's true.
I've never seen it.
Oh, you never seen it?
No.
Oh, I saw it in the theater when it came out. I was such a disappointed kid.
In the theater.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
I was more of a Sega person, so I didn't really care about Mario to begin with.
That movie has Bob Hoskins. Bob Hoskins is a good actor.
John Leguizamo. They play the brothers. They play Mario and Luigi.
John Leguizamo is one of the Mario brothers?
Yeah, he's I think he's Luigi.
He's a Colombian.
Right. He's not Italian. Yeah, neither is Bob Hoskins. Oh, just wait until you see Dennis Hopper playing Bowser. No, wait.
What?
Dennis Hopper plays I forgot his name. Oh,
I can't remember his name either. But the main boss from the game.
Yeah, that's Bowser.
Yeah, Bowser, right.
The Koopa King.
Oh, you should see what they did to the Goombas.
Oh, you know how Hollywood...
They have tiny heads. It's weird. It's weird. You should look at it just for the sake of curiosity.
Yeah. It's probably free on Amazon really, Prime.
Interesting movie the way they... Yeah.
Yeah, well, and all those Uwe Boll movies, like House of the Dead and Blood Rain, and what's that?
Outlander.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Okay.
He ruined. I don't mean to get on a tangent, but just to say, Uwe Boll, he just recently announced his retirement from directing.
Yeah. Well, I
remember when he was asking guys who hated his movies to get into a ring and fight with him. He was challenging people to fight him.
Yeah, it's funny. It's but they make those movies using some sort of German tax shelter money.
Yeah.
That explains a lot.
Yeah, and so, but he seems so vested in them. He gets really, really offended when people don't like them.
They're really bad, though.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really strange. I mean, and I kind of wonder if some of his movies sort of kill the game franchises that he's making the movies of.
He killed definitely the Blood Rain games were really good and had a great, concept for a movie, but he just ruined that.
Yeah, and I had the first one on the GameCube. But yeah, I think we kind of went off on a tangent here. Let's see.
The Scarlet Gospels are coming out in French.
Oh, yeah. So, Celine I think it was happy about that. And wasn't there a French edition of the Books of Blood? Also, I think we're skipping ahead a little bit, but there's a French edition of Books of Blood coming soon.
Ah, that's right. The French publisher Bragelonne will re-release Clive Barker's first volume of his classic horror series, The Books of Blood. So there's still not a release date available, but as soon as we know it, we'll post about it.
Oh, yeah, that's a correction, because it's not Scarlet Gospels, it's Books of Blood.
Yeah, but the Scarlet Gospels are also coming out in French. I got that news.
By the same company, I think.
Yeah, I think I got that news recently, and I thought that this item on the notes was going to be that. But
okay.
But yeah, they're called the Évangile Scarlate. So that's what they're.
Yeah, I like that sound to that.
Huh.
The Imaginer 2 update. Ryan, how's that? What's going on with that? You're the one.
Oh yeah. So I there was an email sent out. At first we had posted a story, from Thomas's update that, hey, look at all these crates, the books are here, and I've looked at them and they're gorgeous. Well, looking at them a little closer, they discovered that there was a problem with the covers, and it wasn't just a few; it was a lot of them. So they had to send them all back to get recovered. So there's going to be a pretty significant delay, I think, in the shipping of those.
It's too bad. I remember when you got your first Imaginer book, you were asking Thomas, is the title of the book supposed to be like diagonal?
Yeah.
In the
down the spine.
Said yes.
Yeah. Yeah, because when you stand it up, they're diagonal, and his reasoning behind that was, he said that it stands out on the shelf, and especially when you have them all the 8 volumes sitting next to each other.
That's going to be awesome. So I think who's going to take over for that is going to be Phil and Sarah. Yeah,
and it seems like, because at first we had heard that they were taking over the finishing up of this one. But it's looking like Century Guild is still finishing this one up.
Yeah, that's cool that they're letting them do that.
Yeah.
I think that's the right thing to do.
So Imaginer 2 is coming soon. It's a little delayed, and I think the plan is to make 8 books of the Imaginer, but
yeah,
who knows how long that's going to take? Just enjoy it for what it is, and keep an eye out for the next Imaginer books when they come out.
Yeah, and in the 2015 Bram Stoker Award nominees, the Scarlet Gospels was nominated for Superior Achievement in a Novel, and Midian Unmade and Horrorology are nominated for Superior Achievement in an Anthology.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, that's not something you can vote on, right? That's just
that's for people that are part of that. I guess part of the Stoker. I guess it must just be
jury.
Certain critics. Is it for certain critics?
Yeah, it must be. We saw a Bram Stoker Award at Clive Barker's house.
I'm very happy that Horrorology got Superior Achievement in Anthology, because it's a really beautiful book.
It is, yeah. Yeah, and I love that new trend of making the book cover, like having the glossy book cover that looks the same as the dust jacket, kind of like old textbooks used to do. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I hope that more of them do that. And Barbie Wilde's Voices of the Damned had the same kind of cool cover.
My Horrorology doesn't have a dust jacket. It only has like a matte hardcover.
Now that you mention that, I think that's the way it is. I think mine was the same.
Right. So that's wonderful news. Scarlet Gospels, Superior Achievement in a Novel. It was in the New York Times bestseller for like 9 weeks or something. So And Midian Unmade, also, a lot of people have been enjoying the stories. So that's great news. Bram Stoker Award nominees, congratulations.
Yeah, and I was just saying a little bit ago, I think we saw a Bram Stoker Award in Clive's studio house.
Oh, yeah.
In the hallway on the way in from the front door.
I remember seeing a picture of him receiving it. I think he was with David Armstrong at the time. I think I posted about it on my blog like years ago. when he got that Bram Stoker award. So
what did he win it for? Do you happen to know what he won it for?
I can find that out in like 30 seconds.
Okay. I'd love to know which book he won that for.
So Bram Stoker Award for Lifetime Achievement. Clive Barker and Robert McCammon were named winners of the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Okay.
So that's one of them. Yeah, I don't know if he ever got more, but like in 2013, Clive Barker won the Bram Stoker Award for Superior Achievement in a Novel. I'll probably link to this in the show notes afterwards.
Okay.
Clive, he always wins a lot of awards.
Oh yeah, and it's kind of funny. There was when I remember Ozzy Osbourne got a Lifetime Achievement Award, and he said this is nice, but I'm still alive.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah. So there was an assistant of Clive's that we've had on our podcast before, Alex, and he had spearheaded this sort of a project to do Clive Barker's A to Z of Death, and there's the poem. I think that project was probably scrapped, but the poem was released recently, right, on Wattpad.com, WATTPAD.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see the poem, and I think that Rob, you had kind of you had found a few of the
images that he did.
Yeah,
it looked like he finished one, and then another one I found. It was like maybe he's still work in progress. I'm not sure, and I don't know which letter it went to.
Yeah.
He at one time he was compiling Clive Barker's poetry. I think at one point he was trying to convince Clive Barker to change the Black as the Devil's Rainbow, Tales of a Journeyman. I think at one point they were considering turning it into a poetry collection instead of a short story collection. But then, of course, Clive Barker got another assistant, and so that project didn't happen. And I remember that this Clive Barker's Alphabet, he was working with another author, an artist. He was doing some drawings for it. I don't know if you remember that, Ryan?
Yeah, I do.
I forgot his name. I forgot the name of the artist. But, Clive was doing something that was very similar to Gorey's The Alphabet, the poem where these little kids are doing things that are dangerous, and so they're finding terrible fates awaiting.
Yeah, who was torn apart by owls.
Yeah, it was Gashly from Tiny's, I think, a gory alphabet book. And so Clive Barker did some poetry, and they were putting it along with some images, and it was pretty cool. So go check that Wattpad blog post that we did.
Yeah, and of course all of these will be in the show notes. So I didn't even realize that Nightbreed, the Boom Studios Nightbreed comic, had been collected into one trade paperback, but apparently the second one is coming out
this week.
Okay, wow, yeah, right.
Probably on Tuesday, when that's usually when comic book stores get their new stuff.
And it's kind of nice that they're just 2 volumes, right? So it's 8 issues per volume instead of 4 like they did with the.
No, it's 4 volumes per.
This is 4.
Yeah, this is 5 through. This is collects 5 through 8, and I guess.
It is 4 issues then.
It'll be third one will be 9 through 12.
Yeah, I still stand by. I think they should just do it in one.
One big.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss those big trade paperback editions that they would do for miniseries.
Well, and especially Boom Comics, they always seem so short. Especially, Nightbreed wasn't too bad, but like the Hellraiser ones, you would read that in like 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, especially when they had big splash pages.
Yeah,
that had just like 1 or 2 little dialogue balloons.
And Next Testament, some of those went by really quick too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, I found out the name of the artist that was working on Clive Barker's Alphabet. It was Paulo Daniel Lorca.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He was friends with Clive Barker and Alex.
And Alex, yeah.
What I'm thinking about these trade paperback editions is that they'll release them, in the 4 issues at a time, and then sometime down the line they'll do a whole collection like you want, Ryan.
Yeah, probably so. But I don't understand the need for this intermediate step. I mean, other than you can sell 4 books instead of 1.
It's just about getting to me about probably making the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. That way they can sell 4 comic books for, I don't know, how much do these trade paperbacks go for? Is it less than $25 or?
Oh yeah, they're not. They're about. I got my Next Testament ones. I paid about, each one was about.
So like 12 or
8.
something?
No, about $8.
Oh wow!
Depending where I didn't get it from Amazon. Now, if you got it from Amazon, I think it was over.
Well, that's a good deal considering the comics are $5 each.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So
but what's so weird is that they have this long stretch between when they're released. Like, I'm sure, like the last one, the first edition of the Nightbreed Comic Collected edition was back in. It was like 6 months ago.
Oh wow!
So I mean. Now, the next one, I don't have no idea when it'll come. It could be another 6 months. And that's what they did with the Next Testament, books. It was just these long stretches of waiting.
That is strange. You would think that they could even just do them all at once, but I guess they figure people might be wanting to save their money, each time.
So if you missed the Nightbreed Comics individual issues, or you didn't buy them at all, but you want to read the story and you can't find the individual issues, this is a good option. You can buy the trade paperback volumes.
Go check out our podcast we did talking about
the Nightbreed comics.
I have a link to it in the report. Mm-hmm. So if y'all want to hear that.
So we got some we've got some feedback and comments and things we can talk about. David Anderson said, about the Dredd, when we did our Dredd audio commentary, he said, I just gave this a listen. I'd forgotten how much de Blasi liked Fight Club, including the part where Tyler crashed a car to give the narrator a near-life experience. I am still Jack's burning rage. Spot on with the Paper Street comparison as well. De Blasi also loves The Shining, apparently. These homages only remind me that I could be watching a much better movie.
Yes.
Watching it with you guys made it much more enjoyable to touch the beast again. Well,
touch the beast. That's thanks, David. Yeah. I was actually going to say, I had written on my notes about the commentaries. I was going to say, we would love some feedback for our commentary tracks. If you've been listening to them, please let us know what you think. If you like them, how can we make it better for you? Because, this was part of the Kickstarter stretch goals.
Yeah. So and we got a lot of, we were really encouraged to do these by all the...
If anybody has any suggestions, please let us know.
Yeah. Yeah, we were really encouraged to do these by all the, the support that we got during the Kickstarter campaign. So, but it's been a little quiet, when we actually release these things. Benjamin Orchard, talking about the Nightbreed comics, said it's especially sad that history kind of repeated itself with the Nightbreed comics. A bunch of artists had an uncommercial vision and were subjected to interference from bean counters, resulting in a disjointed mess that only hints at greatness buried within. Unfortunately, it seems unlikely that the comic books will ever get the equivalent of a director's cut to set things right. So I think, and Benjamin Orchard, I think he's friends with the artist, right?
Is he?
I can't remember.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that I don't know about this interference with bean counters. I mean, I don't know that that's confirmed. We don't really know 100%.
Right.
What happened.
I didn't hear anything about this. I didn't hear anything about any sort of interference or. Yeah. I thought they did what they wanted to do. I just thought it didn't work very well in the last few issues. But
and I theorized that it's possible that the deadline might have snuck up on them, or they may not have been prepared for the end of the series. But we don't know that for a fact. We really don't. I mean,
I do agree with what he says that. that the end of it was kind of a little bit of a disjointed mess that hint at the those first few issues, those first like 6 or 7 issues were really good.
Yeah,
You know, especially the first few. And I was like, the artwork was amazing. The story was intriguing. They were getting their stories for the characters from the source of Clive Barker's Nightbreed Chronicles.
Yeah.
And suddenly I don't know. It just seemed like they could get the origin stories right, but then take the story in a direction that was going to be interesting or meaningful. It just seemed like it fell along the way, especially at the end. Might be unfair for me to say this, but that's just my opinion. So
I think that people should get the I mean, if you're going to get them, you might as well get them all. So if you haven't been collecting the comics, I would get these trade paperbacks. Well, you know, why not? I mean, it's disappointing at the end, sure, but it's really cool at the beginning.
I would say buy it too, because the first 8 issues are so strong that it makes it worth it. And even though the last 4 are just kind of, you know, really disappointing.
Yeah,
there are some interesting parts in it. I mean, I can't really say there. It's just they just don't capitalize on it.
It actually, now that we're talking about how they broke it up into 4 issues, thinking about that, the last trade paperback is going to be all pretty much bad.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Is that like 9, 10, 11, and 12? That's where it got bad.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you know, live and learn. There's plenty of other good stuff made from Clive Barker's stories that you can fall back on. So there's no shortage. For Clive Barker fans, there's no shortage of good stuff when it comes to Clive Barker's body of work. You know, even if one thing fails or, you know. Like, Ryan, do you remember the comic book that came out in the 90s? It was called Primal.
Yeah. That's a strange comic, and there are 2 comics for that, or actually 3, and they don't seem to relate to each other.
Oh, I think I only have the first 2.
Well, there's one that's supposed to be like a collected book, but it's got something else in it that's not in the other 2. It's just,
I need to look into that. Okay,
because
that promised to be a really good story. It was about these creatures that fed on fear and stuff, and they take possession of a few people. And I thought that was going to be such a cool story, but then it never went anywhere, and it just ended. And I mean, sometimes I don't know what happens. Some projects just fall to the wayside, and it's a shame when that happens. But at least when it comes to Clive Barker's books that only depend on what he wrote, then you can always trust that to be good. When it's something that's like movies or comic books, sometimes it depends. Yeah,
actually, there's a really good track record of the Books of Blood getting it adapted into comic book really well. Mm-hmm. I think probably all of the Tapping the Vein and those other Books of Blood adaptations.
Especially those that were adapted by Steve Niles and people like that. They really did a good job adapting those stories. Yeah. And also the Hellraiser comics of the 90s. They still stand up well.
Yeah.
They're really...
Yeah, and those aren't adaptations. Those were just kind of an expanded universe sort of a thing. But they came out really good.
Yeah. And we have a little bit of feedback about... Inferno, our commentary track. It was from Jamie Braswell, who did those amazing custom figurines for Nightbreed that we posted once. So he said, "Cool, I love Hellraiser Inferno. I don't know why, but there is something about this film that captures my interest more than the other sequels. I know it deviates heavily from Hellraiser, but heck, in my opinion, all of the sequels are guilty of this in one way or another. Hellraiser is the only one I am a big fan of, and then I like this one as sort of a different movie that isn't a real Hellraiser film, LOL."
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know. For me, it was hard not to get offended by Hellraiser Inferno.
I think offended is kind of a strong word. But, I think I was very disappointed with the movie when I saw it.
I made a best of, or worst of, or best to worst list of the Hellraiser films, and you can see it on the podcast website. And Inferno was the worst. I actually put Revelations before it because, I mean, the last 3 are Revelations, Hellworld, and Inferno. But it's like comparing three bad films.
That's interesting because it's like
I think even though Revelations is bad, and don't get me wrong, it's bad.
Yeah.
At least it has something. It has some themes of Hellraiser to it, whereas Inferno did not at all.
Yeah. So I guess it depends on what's important to you, because it's like if being true to the story is important, then this would be the worst one, right?
Yeah.
But
go ahead.
Yeah, but if it's like if it just needs to be an entertaining movie, I mean, Hellraiser in Revelations is like hitting your head on a wall for
it is. It's
75 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, they tried.
It's bad.
Yeah. I think what's important for me in a Hellraiser movie is the transgression, the nature of the transgression, and then in Hellraiser Inferno, it feels like the character is punished for transgressing.
Yeah.
Which I think is out of tune with the whole Hellraiser thing, and especially the character of Pinhead. But go check it out. We made the commentary track for Hellraiser Inferno, and we try to make it fun and informative, and we go listen to it and let us know what you think and how we can make it better. So
yeah. Kip Jankowski said things. So and this is in relation to the delay of the Imaginer Book 2. He said, things happen. As limited and gorgeous as these pieces are, we should have no problem waiting a slightly longer time for them to arrive. And that's true. It's not like, we had a deadline. We're just, it comes when it comes. I think we were all getting excited because the update, that they had just arrived. But
saw those pictures.
Yeah,
they were done, and
so that's kind of a bummer. But it's not like Scarlet Gospels where you've been waiting for it for years or decades.
This is an interesting one from Mike Lloyd.
But Mike Lloyd says, go ahead.
This is something maybe should be good for you, Jose. He wants to see. He'd like to see an archive of Clive's earliest works and magazine interviews all over the world in one place.
It's
a good idea.
There used to be a website. I think it was called Clive Barker Interview or something like that.
I didn't know that.
Or Clive Barker Collector or something like that. I know there used to be. I'm not even sure if this website is still up. But
and Phil and Sarah have a pretty comprehensive archive.
Yeah, that's the whole place you want to go to.
Yeah, and they've even typed out either the whole thing or excerpts from all those interviews.
Yeah, and sometimes they link to them as well, which can be very interesting. So check out Revelation. And I'll try to find that other website. I don't think that website exists anymore, but there used to be one called Clive Barker Collector or something like that. And I remember it used to have a huge page full of interviews from several years. But you know how the internet is. Sometimes websites go down and get lost. And
ADP10 talking about Hellraiser Bloodline, because we said, I want to see how it was originally intended to be put out. Let's start another. And then he put at Occupy Midian, which is how we got involved in that. Because Blumhouse did some article about Hellraiser Bloodline. So, they were saying do another Occupy Midian, because that kind of like what people are saying about The Exorcist 3.
That's interesting. I did a post on my Facebook not too long ago where I said if Blumhouse Productions made Hellraiser today, they would have Larry have a night. He would have a camera set up in his house, and then we would see Frank come out of a closet or see some door closing.
Yeah, I read that, but I guess I don't know who Blumhouse is.
Blumhouse Productions is the company that makes all those horror movies Paranormal Activity, stuff like that, I think.
Okay. I saw the first Paranormal Activity, but I thought it was kind of silly that they kept making sequels, so I didn't watch any of those.
Yeah. Blumhouse Productions is an American horror movie production company. They made Paranormal Activity, Insidious, The Purge, Sinister, movies that are essentially based on having ghosts appear in the corner of the shot, or just like a door closes, or like a loud noise happens, and that's what scares people. That's what Mark Kermode, the critic, calls cattle prod cinema, because nothing happens nothing happens for the most of the movie, and then all of a sudden you're just looking at a living room in like nighttime camera footage, and all of a sudden it's nothing, bang, like a door closes or something. That's not scary. That's just like going to what do you call it when you go on Halloween to like a place, a haunt. That's like going to a Halloween
haunted house.
Yeah.
And you know that when you turn the corner, something's going to jump out and scare you, but it's not really scary. It's more like it's the shock. So,
or just a bunch of weird, creepy things. Like the Blair Witch Project was like that too.
Sure, yeah. That was one of the first movies like that.
I'm just curious, why would Blumhouse want to do it sounds like the guys do a director's cut of Hellraiser Bloodline.
Well, they don't. It's just.
I get that's what I get that, but why would he go to them? That's interesting.
I don't know. Maybe he saw my Facebook post. I don't know, to be honest.
He was writing to Blumhouse. And I thought that because they had done an article about.
I wonder if someone picked up on my if Hellraiser was made today post on Facebook.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
And someone tweeted it to Blumhouse? No, I don't know. I need to check up on that. I've been very absent.
But they were only tagging Occupy Midian, though, not
on Twitter.
I'm
sorry. So
yeah, that's it. That's it for our feedback and stuff. Our next episode, hopefully, like we said earlier, is going to be about tonight again, and we should have a guest that was involved in assembling that book.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be fascinating.
Pretty fun.
Keep tuned for that, and again, give us feedback. Let us know what you think of our episodes. What you want us to talk about, how you want us to talk about things, so how you want us to make the commentary tracks. Give us some more feedback so we can fine tune it to our listeners' ideas. That would be great to have more feedback. Give us iTunes reviews and let us know what you think.
And we've got more video content coming up here soon, and probably within the next week or so, we'll have another audio commentary. All right, so next one will be Hellseeker. So stay tuned for that. Yep. The Clive Barker Podcast, or BarkerCast, is an independent editorial fan site and podcast that is not affiliated with or under contract by Clive Barker or Seraphim Films. This podcast and site are a labor of love by the fans for the fans. News, features, and show notes for this episode can be found at www.clivebarkercast.com. Go to iTunes and please leave us a review. Reviews really help us get the word out about Clive Barker. You can also find us on Podomatic, Xbox Music Store, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, Doubletwist, Blackberry, and Pocketcast. We have a Facebook page, so come on and like our Facebook page and join the Occupy Midian group for lots of discussion about Nightbreed and other Clive Barker stuff. On Twitter, we're at BarkerCast and at Occupy Midian. Opening theme by Mark Buckle.